The People's Collection is an independent project in which I invite people originating from colonized countries to visit ethnographic museums around the world, and they see objects from their countries or other colonized places displayed in the museum. They can choose an object that they want to see returned to the country of origin. And I create a collection of postcards that are named after each participant. This is a participant called Rosa El Hassan. She's from Syria and from Hungary. This is the object that she chose, which is from Syria. And on the back of the postcard, you have the name of the museum and the logo of the project. And then there's this publication that has all the comments of the participants of the reasons why they want objects to see returned to the countries of origin, their thoughts about their identity, their doubts. Because I understood that people have somehow mixed feelings about the objects. On the one hand, they think, oh, my grandmother, my mother told me about this little town in the village where they came from, that I've never been there. And sometimes they feel a bit proud because there's an object from their little town that is displayed in a big museum like the British Museum, the Louvre Museum, etc. But then on the other hand, they also feel a bit angry because they think, oh, these objects don't belong to this culture, they should not be here, they were appropriated because they were colonized. And so I was interested in exploring this multiplicity of feelings. There's a new step in this project that I developed specifically for Taiwan, and I never shown it before. When I created this project for Taiwan, I was interested on the one hand on the fact that people in Taiwan will be able also to rethink about their origins, about their identity, about the connections with the neighbors as well, because Taiwan was also invaded by different countries as well. The geopolitics is also changing with China and different issues at the same time. And I also thought it could be a sort of, can I say, almost a playful way of considering this subject, because I think the question of returning or not objects is a very complex subject, but I think that symbolically I'm bringing the objects back because I bring the postcards, and people here, they don't have the objects, but then they have the postcards, and then maybe they can take the postcards home, maybe they can send the postcards to the museum. So it's a sort of a playful way of addressing this subject. I'm less interested in historical notions about colonialism for this project, but more in a sort of fictionalization about these ideas. So I'm interested in the identity of people, because I think when it comes to these issues, you have art historians, we have lawyers, and all of them have this knowledge that I don't have. So my point of view is more as an artist and working with individual people and how these people understand their identity and they think about themselves and the narratives that they create to themselves.
我在英国念书2年，常常往返在台湾跟英国2个不同文化体系之间。我就常常会观察，比如说我作为一个主体，我带着那些物件到别的文化系统里面，它所隐藏的讯息，像是我们的生活习惯、我的文化习惯等等，很多物件它有隐藏跟开展一些讯息的能力。我发现日常生活中物件通常是作为一个系统出现在我们生活当中，可以有效的跟我们互动。当一个物体跟物体它们要被放在一个系统的时候，必须要对彼此进行抽象化或是透明化。这个过程其实还蛮不稳定又还蛮动态的。我就很想要在这个作品中呈现他们这样的互动状态。我平常就很喜欢观察一些建筑交接的地带，还有日常生活空间的一些角落，或者是物品跟物品摆放之间的缝隙。物品在那样子的空间当中，它们没有进入我们平常所定义的规则跟系统里面，它们好像一起共存在那里，却好像同时又独立存在，可以重新的去引起我注意。这也让我好奇，就是当这些物件脱离它原本的意义、功能，跟它所给我们的感官经验的时候，我们又要怎么去诠释它呢？在这次的作品里面，我也尝试去实验，然后去回应这样子的问题。通过这样展示半开放的一个居家空间系统，它们散落在这个空间里嘛，把这些物件它放入一个新的脉络。那透过这样比较碎片式的观察呢，观者也可以就是慢慢在脑袋里面建构这个空间的一个形状。 可以透过旁边的走廊跟阶梯站到台阶上，所以它有不同高度啊、角度去观察这些物件啊。他们其实还是保有他们原本的样子，可能制造出一种感觉说，这个东西好像既熟悉又很陌生，又或者是可以形容是在经验中好像既存在又消失的一个状态。在一个辨识的这个过程当中呢，其实就可以重新去注意日常生活中物件，跟重新去诠释自己的日常生活。
As an artist, I think a lot about history and sort of how we retell the past and how we sort of use narratives about the past to support our present interests. The piece I made is a sort of fragmented replica of a Confederate monument that was pulled down by protesters in Durham, North Carolina, in the United States in 2017. And when it fell, it became this sort of really crumpled version of itself. It's not only this sort of dense narrative of American history, right, from the erection of the monument to its eventual destruction, but formally the fallen monument is incredibly complex. It's this sort of twisted, warped thing. So this thing gets translated into new materials. I had to model it myself as opposed to, pulling a mold off the original thing. So there are all these layers of kind of recreation and the subtle shifts in meaning that accompany those recreations. The crumpled monument sort of manages to embody and symbolize a great deal of those struggles and questions, both about historical narratives about America's past and about this present moment when we are really realizing the need to tell different histories. Right? And so America right now is in this moment of really reckoning with a lot of its sort of darker and more troubling aspects of its past, specifically how they pertain to the ongoing effects of systemic racism in America. And one of the facets of that discussion is the removal of these monuments. It strikes me as very fascinating that we're at this moment where suddenly we appreciate the sort of power that these three-dimensional representations have in physical space, that we, have come to the point where these things need to be taken down by any means. This act of taking down the monument seems hopeful, and so I hope that maybe that idea of iconoclasm as a signifier of positive change might be something that would be communicated to someone outside of the specific moment of American history. That kind of changing of the symbols I think of as an indicator that things can change, and ideally things can change for the better.